Hi everyone, welcome to Wow Stories. I am Miss Wow. When it comes to prophecies, people from different parts of the world have their own well-known stories and famous prophets. For example, the French mystic Nostradamus predicted in his book, The Prophecies, that the world would end in 1999. Similarly, the Mayans prophesied that the world would be destroyed in 2012. Another example is the ancient Chinese book, Tui Bei Tu, which predicted the rise and fall of dynasties and significant events spanning 1,000 years. While some of these prophecies have proven accurate and others not, this has done little to diminish people's fascination with new ones. Today, let's take a closer look at several major events that might happen in 2025. Number 1. The Great Tsunami and the Eruption of Mount Fuji. The Japanese comic book The Future I Saw is said to be a collection of predictions about many major events. This book was published in 1997 and written by Ryo Tatsuki. Although it is a comic book, the stories are not entirely fictional, as she claims to possess a unique ability, precognitive dreams. The book contains 15 predictions, 13 of which have already come true. The final 2 are as follows. On July 5, 2025, a massive tsunami will strike southern Japan, and Mount Fuji will erupt again after 300 years of dormancy. Ryo Tatsuki was born in Kanagawa Prefecture, Japan, on December 2, 1954. As a child, while recovering from a cold, she experienced an out-of-body sensation, floating above her body and looking down at everything below. This experience didn't last long, but it seemed to have triggered her ability to have precognitive dreams. In November 1976, she dreamed that Freddie Mercury, the iconic lead singer of Queen, would die of an infectious disease. 10 years later, she dreamed again of a statue dedicated to Queen, except Freddie Mercury was missing. On November 24, 1991, Freddie Mercury passed away from pneumonia caused by AIDS. She also dreamed 5 years in advance of Princess Diana's death, and 10 years before the passing of Japanese superstar Yutaka Ozaki, who was just 26 at the time. When she first dreamed of his death, he was only 16 and still a student. Over time, Tatsuki noticed a pattern. Her dreams often correlated with real events occurring in intervals of 5, 10, or 15 years. By 2011, Ryo Tatsuki had retired as a cartoonist for many years. That year, a devastating earthquake and tsunami struck eastern Japan, affecting millions and becoming the largest earthquake in Japan's recorded history. After the earthquake, someone was astonished to find the cover of an old comic book she had drawn over a decade earlier that read, March 2011, Great Disaster. This revelation reignited interest in her work, and her books became extremely popular in the secondhand market. But her mind remained troubled. She had predicted other disasters, including the Hanshin earthquake and the COVID-19 pandemic. Yet the vision that terrified her the most occurred in 1981, a dream within a dream. That time, she dreamed she was sleeping. While asleep, she dreamed that she saw the sea suddenly recede, only to crash back toward the land with even greater force. When she woke up, she stepped outside and found the streets eerily deserted, with the overpass staircase stretching unnaturally long. As she climbed it, she saw a vast ocean covering the ground below. It was then that she truly woke up, to reality. She later dreamed of another tsunami, this time seeing the date July 5, 2025 clearly. In this vision, she heard a loud noise erupting from the seabed between Japan and the Philippines, causing underwater cracks and waves over 100 meters high to rush outward. The eastern coast of Japan would be severely impacted, with casualties far exceeding those of the 2011 tsunami. Eventually, the land between Japan and the Philippines would merge. While some speculated that her dream merely referred to the 2011 tsunami, Tatsuki was certain the two events were distinct. She pointed out that the 2011 earthquake occurred in March, when it was cold, whereas her dream clearly took place in summer, as she was wearing short sleeves. She also recognized the region where the disaster would occur. It was her hometown, Yokohama. She even once dreamed of her own funeral, which was on July 15th of an unknown year. She saw her family and friends hugging the coffin to be buried, taking it as her own ending after the tsunami. Interestingly, in recent years, Japanese scientists have also warned of increased seismic activity in the South China Sea Trough, southeast of Japan, suggesting a real possibility of future earthquakes and tsunamis. On August 20th, 1991, Tatsuki dreamed of Mount Fuji erupting. In the dream, she was looking at Mount Fuji from a distance when black smoke rose from its peak, followed by a loud explosion and lava pouring out. Mount Fuji's last eruption in 1707 covered parts of Edo, modern-day Tokyo, in volcanic ash for 2 days, with up to 10 centimeters of accumulated ash in some places. If such an event occurred today, it would have significant consequences for the whole of Japan. However, Ryo Tatsuki also believed that her dreams of tsunamis and volcanic eruptions might not be literal, but rather abstract representations of other major world-changing events. For instance, Carl Jung had similar dreams in 1913. Visions of a massive flood submerging Europe, England sinking beneath the sea, the mountains of Switzerland rising, and countless bodies floating on the ocean. Although these specific events never occurred, the outbreak of World War I in 1914 forever altered world history. Number 2. In 2025, will human civilization begin the countdown to its end? Baba Vanga, also known as Vangelia Pandeva Gushtarova, was a blind Bulgarian prophet born on January 31, 1911, and passed away on August 11, 1996. She was renowned for her ability to foresee future events through visions and dreams. She made nearly 100 predictions during her lifetime, with some of the most accurate being the September 11th attacks, the sinking of the Kursk submarine, and the election of Barack Obama as U.S. president, all of which were fulfilled after her death. It is said that she encountered a storm and disappeared at the age of 12. Although she was later found, she had lost her sight. From then on, she began experiencing visions of the future, using them to help others. This experience is quite similar to Tatsuki's, both possibly linked to some supernatural intervention. Before her death, Baba Vanga left a list of predictions known as the Timeline of Humanity's End. It begins with 2025, predicting major upheaval in Europe. In 2028, humans will begin exploring Venus in search of energy. By 2033, polar ice caps will melt, dramatically raising sea levels. In the distant future, humanity will face extinction, and the world will ultimately end. Although there are still thousands of years to go, considering that Russia and Ukraine have been at war for several years, and protests are widespread in the UK, perhaps this volatile powder keg will indeed explode in 2025. Number 3. AI technology and the resurrection of the dead. The British series Black Mirror has been regarded as a prophetic science fiction drama. In one memorable episode, a grieving widow, longing for her late husband, collects all traces of his online presence, photos, videos, voice recordings, and even text messages, to create a hyper-realistic AI replica. This replica not only mirrors his appearance, voice, and thought patterns, but also emulates his physical mannerisms, leaving her both astonished and deeply unsettled. This scenario, once fictional, is now becoming a reality. Companies in China and the US now offer AI services that resurrect deceased loved ones using their digital footprints. For instance, Taiwanese musician Tino Bao recreated an AI version that was almost identical to his late daughter, using her videos and digital footprints. While the bond between this father and daughter is touching, some netizens have controversially resurrected deceased celebrities such as Coco Lee and Godfrey Gao, sparking backlash from their families. The rise of AI resurrecting the deceased, including the growing trend of digital avatars, has provided comfort to many grieving families. However, it also raises profound ethical debates around identity, ownership, and the emotional toll on loved ones. In many mythological stories, skilled craftsmen who create human-like beings often face tragic consequences. Either they are punished by gods or destroyed by their creations. Number 4. A solar storm causes a global power outage. In June 2021, a mysterious man in the United States was arrested for theft. After being caught, he claimed to be a time traveler from 1,000 years in the future, a time when shopping no longer required payment. To back up his claim, he left behind a series of predictions. One of these foretold that starting in July 2025, Earth would face a decade-long power outage, plunging humanity into a survival crisis. The cause of this global blackout? A massive solar storm. Solar storms result from the sun's activity, which follows an approximately 11-year cycle. At the beginning of the cycle, the number of sunspots increases yearly, peaking during what's known as the solar maximum. After that, the number of sunspots decreases until the solar minimum. Sunspots are darker areas on the sun's surface, where magnetic fields are highly concentrated. During a solar maximum, the sun ejects high-energy charged particles and fast-moving plasma clouds toward Earth. At the same time, electromagnetic radiation intensifies, disrupting devices on Earth that rely on electromagnetic waves to function. In April 2024, China's National Satellite Meteorological Center announced that the current solar activity cycle had reached its maximum phase, with its peak expected between 2024 and 2025. Whether the man arrested in 2021 was making wild guesses or truly a time traveler remains uncertain. Nevertheless, it's always wise to prepare in advance for the potential impact of a solar storm. And that wraps up today's video. Out of all the predictions we've shared, which do you think is most likely to come true? Let us know in the comments. No matter what happens, we sincerely hope all our viewers have a safe and smooth journey through 2025. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. See you in the next one.